You are listening to the Wandering Chronicles podcast. I'm Ashley.
I'm Jamie. I'm less enthusiastic than Ashley.
I don't know why I did that so weird.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
You got more rest than me last night, I think.
I don't think I did. I didn't sleep well at all. I think I'm just like faking it till I make it.
How many cups of coffee have you had?
1.
Okay, that's not it.
Nope. I scared Jamie earlier, so that's why.
You scared the pants off me.
Interesting. Didn't know that was a power.
That I screamed. Literally.
Yeah, you did. I didn't realize I was gonna scare you because you popped up on my screen and I was just really excited to see you. And I apparently hadn't popped up on your screen, so yeah, I scared you.
Yeah. I do appreciate that you were excited to see me. That's pretty sweet.
I was very excited to see you.
I appreciate that. You might be the only one who's ever been excited to see me.
I'm usually excited to see you.
And you have all the room because you're alone in that.
I will take it. It's all mine. I want it all.
So how's it going?
I have an Izzy update. She went to the vet last week. I think I mentioned that in last week's episode. And so I got a call from the doctor and her T4 levels are normal. She's exactly where she needs to be. So they're going to monitor her for the next 6 months and I'll take her in November and we'll see how she's doing then.
That's awesome.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm okay.
You want to say it or you want me to say it?
Well, you asked how I am.
Yes, how are you?
I'm okay. If we're leaving the state of our nation out of the conversation, I'm okay.
We don't have to, because the state of our nation is pretty dreary right now.
I'm angry. I'm very, very, very angry. I'm honestly more angry than I've ever been in my life. And I hate it. I hate it. I'm angry to the point where I feel uncomfortable by it.
Yeah. There's no, we have no bodily autonomy. We don't get any control now.
It's so much, that alone is enough to make me angry. But the fact that it's just the first domino to fall of many.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the Supreme Court and the draft ruling that came out, and I don't really want to talk about it a lot because it's going to make me upset, but let's just say I live in Missouri.
Yeah, well.
And I'm feeling misery.
I understand that. I mean, I'm grateful that I live in Illinois and that those protections will be safe as long as we don't have a Republican governor, but...
The problem is that everybody from the other states around you that can't get access to
It's going to
anything,
overwhelm Illinois, yes.
Right, and I'm not just talking about abortion.
Oh.
I'm already looking for a doctor in Illinois for my birth control because they are outlawing the birth control that I use.
Yeah.
And it's the only thing that's ever worked for me and actually helps with my mental illness as well. So I'm not gonna not take it anymore, but that
Absolutely
means
not.
Now I'm taking up space even for that. Even for such a day-to-day thing that most people use and most childbearing adults use in their life are going to have to go across state lines for those things. And that is going to have an impact regardless on your access to those things too, just by virtue of there's only so many doctors to go around.
Exactly.
Anyway, there's that. I mean, I'm not specifically affected by abortion as a personal person. I don't anticipate that will be a thing I ever need again.
But
since
birth
I
control.
Men before this even started.
Birth control is going to be an issue, though. Yeah.
For sure. I mean, it has helped me so much. I feel more myself than I've felt in my entire life. Just in the last 2 years now, I've almost been on it. So, yeah, I don't know. It's all bad, and it's all bad.
It is all bad. If you're a woman, you should be very nervous now. And if
I want to be inclusive of our trans friends who are also affected by this.
Yeah.
But also, it goes beyond that because the next thing is going to be birth control access for everybody, for all kinds of birth control.
Yeah. Plan B will be out.
Marriage equality is going to be the next thing out the door. And it's not frantic or crazy to think that. Based on the way that the verbiage is in the document, it's reasonable.
They are going to go after that next. And then the few bits of news I've consumed about this has indicated that after same-sex marriage, they could take away interracial marriage.
I know. It is so problematic to me. The entire judicial branch is supposed to be outside of politics.
Yeah.
There's not supposed to be side picking. It's supposed to be neutral.
Yeah.
This is going to work out, I feel like, there's two ways. number one, I hate to say it, but before Iran became the Iran that we know today, women had complete freedom. They wore bathing suits. They used birth control. They had jobs, and they owned property, and it could go that way.
I hope not, but I see how it could.
It's going to be like prohibition, where it's outlawed for a decade or whatever, and then it comes back. Which would be the better of the two, but it's still awful.
Yeah, it's still, a decade of seedy, non-safe abortions, or having to travel across the country when you don't have money to do that to get a safe abortion. That's not right. All they're doing is killing people.
Right. Or just young women too afraid to do fucking anything.
Or just people who decide they don't want to deal with any of it and just kill themselves.
Well, that's what I was alluding to be honest.
I'm much more blunt about it.
Well, because I wrote emails to my senators, I just have to do something. I feel like trapped in inaction. I'm not good with inaction. I have to give me a fucking task so I can do something about this. But what do you do? There's really not a lot you can do. I don't really feel like marching is going to help. I do think it's good to, it's good for, it has good reasons.
Yeah.
It's not going to help change this opinion, but it's good for us to meet and know that there are so many people that agree with us, and to see that community. And then when the real action comes, the stuff that we can actually do, we know how to reach those people. That's good. But it's not going to change the fucking, it's Amy Coney Barrett. She's not going to fucking change her mind.
No, she doesn't care.
She's fit for a fucking straitjacket.
She's insane. I mean, she's insane.
Yeah, that's probably all we need to talk about with that. I just have a lot of feelings.
Yeah, no, they're valid feelings.
I will sum it up. I'm a big journaler. I journal like crazy. And normally I listen to really peaceful, mellow music while I journal. And unconsciously on Friday, I had to laugh at it after the fact, but unconsciously on Friday it was journaling to Pantera. And then I was like, I'm feeling a certain type of way, aren't I?
Yeah, you're definitely feeling a certain way, but that's okay.
All week I'm just like, don't yell at anybody. Don't yell at anybody.
Oh my god. We live in a fucked up world.
I know.
But I will take us somewhere a little bit lighter this week.
Yeah, but before we do that, I have something I want to mention. First of all, because of the timing of when this episode comes out, I want to wish a very happy birthday to Mr. T.
Yes, happy birthday, Mr. T. And even though he's passed away, happy birthday, Biggie.
Pour one out for your brother Biggie. Ashley's birthday is coming up, and this will come out a few days after her birthday. I looked at the calendar.
Is it a few days after? I thought it comes out Thursday before.
You're
right. No, you're right.
Unfortunately, I wasn't thinking ahead.
Yeah.
I'm not so great at that.
You're right.
So the fact that I thought of this today is actually very impressive.
It is impressive. So happy birthday, Mr. T.
Happy birthday, Mr. T. And I remembered.
You did. I'll have to wait longer before I mention it again. Happy birthday to my birthday buddy.
I also wanted to just quick thank this user that left our very first Apple review, 5-star review on Apple, and it made me smile to read it, and I just wanted to give a quick shout out. I don't know if we're going to be able to keep this up right now. It's looking like we will, but you never know.
Yeah.
So a big thank you to Nimble Mo.
Such a cute name.
Who left us the following review, and it made me smile. Not only are Jamie and Ashley highly entertaining to listen to, they do a great job teaching us something new every week. Love the podcast. Love the ladies. Great job.
Aw, thank you, Nimble Mo. Love your name. Love your little screen name. That's so cute.
I know. It's so nimble.
And so nimble. Oh.
Yeah. So, thank you, Nimble Mo. It is really, we didn't really know what we were getting into when we came into this, and, maybe one person would listen to it per week, and it's picking up, and it's cool to see, and it's nice to hear the feedback from people, and if anyone else wants to leave us feedback, please do so, or send us an email. All of that information is in the credits at the end of the podcast if you want to know how.
Cannot stress this enough.
We love hearing from you guys.
Exactly. I was about to say, we love hearing from you guys. We love hearing what you have to say. We appreciate all the feedback. Please contact us and tell us what you think.
And if we randomly pick towns, so there's no way that we can really say for sure when or if we're going to do a story on your town. But that doesn't mean you can't send us an email with a great story as a suggestion, because then when we pick that town, we will have that as a suggestion, and we'll remember that. So
exactly. We'll We'll save them in a folder.
Eventually, we're going to go everywhere.
Yeah. There's lots of places to explore in this big country of ours.
So that's all the business I have. We can get into our episode if you would like, but I wanted to just do those two things. We love you, Ashley.
I appreciate that. Aw, thanks, Jamie, and thanks, Nimble Mo.
Thank you, Nimble Mo.
So, we have landed in Houston, Texas today.
Oh, yeah.
Woohoo!
So much a fan of your governor, but that's not Houston's fault. I know Houston's out there doing their
not
best.
Houston's fault.
With what they're given with
doing what you gotta do. So, how did you get to Houston?
I tucked myself into the fetal position and just rolled.
So, you're like was it like a centipede that rolls up into a ball?
Yeah.
Okay.
I cried a lot in there. I was cry-powered.
Okay. I decided to hang glide my way there.
That's not safe.
Nope, but I live on the edge, man.
On the edge of a cliff.
Yes, on the edge of a cliff, and I'm ready to sail right down. Nice. Nosedive. So, we are talking about a love story, and I know last time I got a love story, I kind of finagled it into a story that I love.
I think it counts.
This is a absolute, true, sweet love story. So, you want to get into it? Okay, so I do have to mention this does take place primarily in the 1950s, and there is some language that I would not use now that is used back then. Okay. And I am going to be reading from some of the letters that these two people sent to each other.
Okay.
And also giving you facts about their life in between.
Okay.
So, some of it will be outdated language. And I will be quoting from the letter, so if outdated language is used, I'm not changing it.
It's not the N-word, is it?
It's not that version of the N-word.
Okay. I'm fine with anything but that version of the N-word.
Yes, it's not, it's closer to the Spanish word for black. Okay. It's, again, outdated language. I don't necessarily think that, because it is also the Spanish word for black.
Well, and also, I mean, honestly,
different pronunciation.
I'm going to be very honest. I know what word you're talking about now, and my grandma uses it, or did before she passed, so.
Yeah, so.
Unfortunately, it's still
again,
used
it might be offensive to some people, but it is also historical context, and I don't believe in changing history just to make other people comfortable.
Fair.
If we were talking about something that was anti-Jewish, I would use the words that were used in context then, and I would not change a thing.
No, that's how you learn from history.
Exactly, and I'm a firm believer in learning from history, so we're going to hear words that may not make people comfortable.
Fair.
So that was my little trigger warning at the top of the episode. It wouldn't be a story from me if I didn't have a trigger warning.
Lately, unfortunately, that has been the case. Hopefully, we can get you out of that.
Hopefully we can, but this story is just so sweet that I don't even mind that there's like a slight trigger warning. So I'm going to give you a little facts about Houston. So first off, I need to say that I have never been to the state of Texas, so I don't know shit about Texas. I'm sure it's lovely, but seriously, rein in your Republicans, please.
Yeah.
So
him out. I have been to Texas once, not to Houston though, but when I was back in the day, when I was trying to go to graduate school, I had an interview at a college in Austin.
I mean, I'm sure Texas is a lovely state. I've seen
there's a lot of great people in Texas. There's just a lot of rural areas that the cities are fine, you know.
It's So, enough about personal feelings. It's the most populous city in Texas and the fourth most populous city in the country. I don't think a trip to Houston would be complete without mentioning Beyonce.
Oh, no.
So, Beyonce is from Houston, but we will not be talking about Beyonce.
That's a great injustice.
You know what? I don't think we're ready for that jelly, so.
Oh my god.
One day we will cover Queen Bee, but not today.
That was good. That was a really good one. And somehow unexpected.
I'm so glad you appreciated it.
You know, here's the thing. I'm always the one, like, I always feel like I'm on top of my music joke game, so when you beat me at my own game, I'm always going to be shocked.
My sister-in-law, when I first met her, was obsessed with Destiny's Child and said that she was going to be the fourth member of it.
They had 4 members when they started.
Yes, but this was when they only had 3.
So she would have been the 5th member.
Yeah, she would have been the 5th member, and she used to sing that song all the time. So, like, of course, when I think of Destiny's Child, I'm gonna think.
Drop your booty to the ground.
I had to. My
vibes too vibalacious for you, babe.
So, that's enough about Houston. I'm gonna get into the story, which I'm gonna tell you does not start off in Houston. So, as discussed, this is a true love story. I'm going to be talking about Reverend William Bill Lawson and Audrey Hoffman Lawson. Do you know those names?
Mm-mm.
Okay, even better.
Should I?
You might, but I don't know. I didn't know the name ahead of time, but these two were very influential in Houston, and their story doesn't start off in Houston. A lot of my notes take place before they move to Houston, but once they get to Houston, they're a big deal. So they're really fascinating too. It's really fun to read through their love letters.
We love a power couple.
I'm gonna start. Oh, they're so cute, and feel free to look at the first photo of them. Don't scroll too far. So I'm gonna give you a brief background on both, starting with Reverend Lawson. Bill was born to parents Walter and Clarice on June 28th, 1928 in St. Louis, Missouri.
Interesting.
Yeah. At a young age, his family moved to Kansas City, Kansas, where he grew up. He attended and received a BA from Tennessee State University in the 1950s, and then he attended Central Baptist Theological Seminary. Bill had a habit of writing letters to women attending his alma mater, as well as surrounding colleges, which is how he became acquainted with Audrey Hoffman. So,
dang. Did you say her maiden name was Hoffman?
Yes.
You know, it's interesting that that's the second Hoffman from Missouri that we've done a story on.
Who was the first one?
Tony Alamo.
Oh, fuck. I forgot his name was Hoffman originally. Oh, my God.
Bernie.
Yeah, that is
Bernie
weird.
Hoffman.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, my God. Wow. Yeah, that is weird.
Can we pause for a second? Every time you pick up your drink, it makes me want a drink. So I'm going to grab one real quick. It's my last Coke.
Oh.
Hold on.
Okay. Ooh, that did sound good.
Yeah, crispy,
It did
right?
sound good. Yeah, super crispy.
Christy.
Audrey was born to parents John Henry and Alma Hoffman on March 20th, 1932, also in St. Louis, where she grew up. She was attending Tennessee State University in Nashville when she received a letter from Bill, as many young women had. However, unlike the other women, Audrey responded to Bill's letters.
Can I ask a question
For curiosity?
before you move on?
Yeah.
How did he find their names?
It was an all-women's dorm.
So he just randomly would write letters to the dorm and any girl would receive them?
I'm guessing that their names were listed in, like, a directory and he just wrote letters to women.
Okay.
It's a different time. It's just it's so weird.
It's hard to even imagine. That's like, I guess,
I
can't think of an equivalent.
It's like getting a DM on Twitter from a random person.
But even that random person has access to all the tweets that you've already tweeted.
True. Tweeted. Yeah, it is. It is random, but that's just... I don't personally understand the concept of this, but this is just how it happened.
I'm just curious.
But like I said, Audrey was the only one to respond to Bill, and she did so partially out of curiosity, but also partly because some of the other girls dared her to.
I mean, as long as he's not writing, and I'm sure he wasn't, as long as he's not writing lewd things, there's no shame in that game. I have heard stories where men back in that time frame did write, like, lewd letters to random women.
No.
And so...
his letters were not lewd.
I think I would be weirded out for that reason, but in this case, I guess sometimes it worked out okay.
Yeah. So it's an interesting story, but yeah, she did it basically on a dare. Like, some of the other girls in the dorm were like, you should write him back, and she's like, all right, fine.
That's kind of how I started dating my ex-husband.
So she did respond, and that exchange started off platonic and quickly became a daily correspondence that led to an exchange of over 600 letters sent between 1952 and 1954.
That's cool, like fun pen pal.
Yeah, it didn't stay platonic for long.
Oh, okay.
I mean, these are love letters.
Well, I know, but
the first bunch are not love letters. It's like getting to know you, learning about each other. It's very sweet.
I'm getting ahead of myself. Never mind.
Yeah. So the first letter, and as I said, I'm going to be reading excerpts of these letters. There's a lot of them. Like I said, over 600. And they're all digitized online, so you can find them and read the actual scanned copies of all of their letters. It's beautiful. It's been my refuge this last week.
That's how I need to meet a man, since I don't like leaving my apartment. Someone just randomly send me a letter, please. Don't make it gross.
No, please, no gross letters. No, please. No to all of that. So the first letter was dated September 27th, 1952, and it read, Dear Bill, I hope you won't think me bold and wrong for writing you, but it really seems as though I know you after hearing so much about you. I haven't ever met you, but I did see you once in Kansas City. I was there the summer of 1950 and came to the church which you attended. I was visiting Claudia, who's Audrey's letters are handwritten, so it's really hard to read some of the words. So I also just decided not to include Claudia's last name, who is a very good friend of mine, and at the time I met your brother, Walter. Well, I would like to introduce myself. It is a small world. I would like to introduce myself. I'm Audrey Hoffman. I'm a senior majoring in social admin from St. Louis, Missouri. Skipping over her talk of like her college activities and all that stuff, and her plan to go to Atlanta after school to work in social work. I suppose you're wondering why I'm writing you. Well, truthfully, I don't know, but it's something that I have wanted to do for a long time, so I decided to carry through with the idea. I have often wanted to meet someone like you, since I have heard nothing but good things about you since transferring to state. I would appreciate hearing from you, since you write such beautiful letters. Don't think that Gloria has let me read them, but she has read to me some of the inspirational passages from them. I must close now, but I will be waiting to receive at least a note from you. Don't let me down. Sincerely yours, Audrey Hoff.
Don't let me down.
Their letters become really funny at certain points once they get to know each other better, but Bill did respond to her.
Of course he did.
And
this dude's been fishing in a pond for months and he finally got a bite. You know he wrote.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Bill responded to Audrey on September 29th, 1952. He has, you can scroll down to the next image because he has a great drawing on his letterhead. His letterhead is so interesting, the way his like name is written on it.
They're so cute.
Aren't they?
That's her
so you can see
letterhead.
Like, yeah, so her letterhead, you can see her handwritten letter.
Oh.
And then scroll down, you can see his letter, and his letterhead is so cool.
Is it like that on all of them?
It's like that on most of them.
Okay.
Eventually the drawing of his face goes away, but the signature, the way he writes Bill Lawson on there, never goes away.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really cool. So Bill responded to Audrey, goes, "Dear Audrey, of course I won't think you bold or wrong. Why, lady, you compliment me in every sentence. And indeed, the fact that you wrote at all is flattery of the most ego-boosting brand. It is psychologically postulated that the human mind tends to expel unpleasant memories. It is this reason, I suppose, that the past is so often referred to as good old days. Now, how you happen to swim back up the current of mental tendency and remember me is beyond my ability to comprehend. But it is gracious of you, to say the least."
Is he a poetry major?
I am led... No, he's in seminary school. His letters are all like this. Like, they're so flowery and, like, poetic. And I understand why, like, the girls enjoyed getting letters from him. Like, a lot of the girls in the dorm liked getting letters from him, but nobody ever... They're really cool letters. Where did I leave off? Oh, but it is gracious of you to say the least. I am led further into confusion by the fact that I remember you. Now, if you had not the faintest idea of who nor what you are, I should have painted in my mind a gruesome caricature of a hideous, neurotic misfit who was grabbing at and straw afloat, for she was drowned in social obscurity. But in case you haven't heard, I all but think in pictures, and a new face is often etched in my memory, hardly ever to be erased. I did see you, not only with Claudia Jean at church, but also in a photograph which appeared in the Kansas City Hall some weeks before. Since then, I cannot picture such a hideous poor soul. I must ask myself, who has misled this pretty lady? Now, you have added a most welcome missive in which you have told me your circular and your extracurricular achievements and aspirations. Excuse me while I butt my head against the wall. Well, I can't explain it, so I'll just say thanks, but don't wake me now.
That sounds mean.
I know, I thought so too, but there must be context that we're missing from
you're
the time.
hideous, and also you're boring, so I'm gonna pound my head against the wall by your extracurricular activities.
Yeah, this part of the letter, I was just like, what the heck?
Audrey, okay. Those are red flags, my friend.
Well, she did not pick up on those flags. I am naturally obliged to tell you something about my self. I am in Central Baptist Theological Seminary, which is also my home, a lily white school until 5 years ago. It is democratically up and coming, even to the point of having its first time elected a Negro president of the senior class. Me. Modest hunk of cheese, ain't I?
I'm bringing that phrase. That's a great phrase.
Yeah. Modest hunk of cheese, ain't I?
Cheese.
Yeah. So he goes on to talk about his goals and his studies and the fact that he is a pastor at a small church in Pittsburgh, Kansas.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So he goes, my favorite hobby is probably art, although I also like reading, swimming, track, and baseball. I am tall, 6'1", with no meat to go on my sprawling frame, approximately 145 pounds. So, like, this is kind of an interesting way to introduce yourself, but I suppose if you can't readily send a photo, you gotta describe yourself. I am not engaged, but I have a friend who is my sister's classmate and who lets me take her out when I go someplace more than any other girl will. Wise girls, these Kansas chicks. Cuss 'em. Gloria disturbs me. I can never buy what that girl needs in a guy. I live with my parents and 2 brothers and a sister. Actually, I'm an only child, but the situation is almost too complicated to describe unless someone just likes to be bored. So I have no house, no car, no money, no future, no... It's surprising how easy it is to get carried away. But he's kind of funny in his letters, and he does ask her to write again, and he does say when she has time, and if anyone asks who he is, she can say that he is a niece from Iraq that an aunt gave a masculine name of her brother, Wilhelm. So it's kind of weird. But Bill soon realized that he was falling in love with this faceless girl, having never exchanged photos. Under the shaky pretext of a visit to his parents, he traveled to St. Louis and visited Hoffman's home. Audrey wrote to Bill about his potential visit on December 20th, 1952. Hello, Bill. Thanks for so prompt an answer to my last letter. It was very sweet of you, to say the least. The most wonderful part of the letter was the P.S. in which you stated that you may be here for some of the holidays. I do hope you will be able to make it, for I've been looking forward to the day when I would meet you. On my grounds, what could be better?
I guess that makes sense why
flipped a Sharpie.
They didn't stay quote-unquote platonic for long, because they're from the same town. They have opportunity to actually meet each other.
Yeah. What could be better? I have just come from the Union Station where I took a school chum who was through here for the day, and I said I would come right home and answer your letter. Hey, who's the flatterer now? May you continue to write me? Why, the honor is all mine. Bill, you know I'm quite a coward. I just realized yesterday when I learned that our meeting may be sooner than I had anticipated. I realized that if I wrote you what I had planned to write, that maybe then I would not be able to face you. So it is probably better that I leave the letter to which I referred unwritten. It was only a combination of my beliefs, wishes, and feelings, but it may embarrass both of us if I write it at present, so we will leave it undone. I didn't know that St. Louis was your home. Every time you write, I learn something else about you. So if you do get here, then maybe I had better sit you down and hear your life's history of my dream boy.
See, no, this is very flirty.
It is very flirty. I mean, it didn't stay platonic for long. On second thought, if we cover it all there, then maybe there won't be anything else to write you about, and you would discontinue your correspondence, and that would not do. The letter does continue. She asks about Glow, and who was referenced before. Again, she said she hopes he makes it to St. Louis, and her parents are eager to meet him. She says that her mother and sister have read some of his letters. She asks that he forgive her for that. She says that they are excited to meet such a wonderful person. She asks that he give his family her regards and wishes him a Merry Christmas.
Okay.
Unfortunately, this meeting did not work out as he was working as a pastor and had to remain in Pittsburgh to perform services for the holidays. So in early March of 1953, they had planned to meet again, but were snowed in. So the following week, March 11th, they were finally able to meet in person, and after the meeting, Bill wrote, praising the whole family, but of Audrey he wrote, of all the things which impressed me, however, none stand out as memorably as you. Indelibly imprinted in my mind, you are pictured, a petite gypsy-like charmer whose tiny frame, though delicate enough to tempt, squeezing, yet seemed somehow durable enough to outlast a hefty torso of a brother, A.D. And those reddish black hairs, well groomed but stubbornly unruly, balanced the arresting color of light brown eyes, made to dance in the flame of the sunlight that poured adoringly over the eternal smile, and the fiery color of blazing corduroy. This was Audrey, perennial harbinger of spring, unpretentious, lovable cardinal, garbed and shy of it in the crimson of desert sunset, most ostensible songster in the aviaries of the great mound city. This is a 12-page letter, so I'm not going to read the entire thing.
Holy mother of God, that description.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Really paints a picture.
Yeah,
In my picture, she's naked in a desert watching the sunset.
No.
That was what I pictured.
That's not what happened, but yes. Yeah. He paints a very flowery picture of her, but he was very enamored by her.
Of course, obviously. I wasn't insulting him.
No.
It was a
not at all.
description.
Yeah, he's very good with his words.
Obviously. And he probably knew it, and that's why he decided to go about meeting women that way.
Yeah, he's very impressive in letter writing. So this is a 12-page letter, so I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he does write extensively about his school and stress he's experiencing. He does offer an explanation as to why he might not write again for the next 10 days because he was very busy and very short on free time. Now, I will note that at this meeting, Audrey came to the door wearing a red corduroy suit, which is how Bill goes on to call her Little Red for the rest of their life together.
Oh my god. I have a sore tooth.
You okay? Because of too much sweet? Yeah, I told you, this is a really sweet story.
I don't believe it.
It's a different time. It's just such a different time. Like, there's nothing about these letters that I can relate to because it's such a different time. But I still enjoy reading them.
Can you imagine going on a date with someone that you met on social media, or not social media, but on a dating site, and then they send you a text message that says anything close to what he said to her in his first letter?
I cannot imagine it because it would never happen.
Instead, you get the guy that's like, I went out and banged this other chick.
God, I forgot about him. Yeah.
But I mean, gross. That's not, I wasn't even referencing someone specific. That happens a lot.
Yes, it does. It does. It's just, it's gross. Men are gross.
Do you know who Aziz Ansari is?
Yes. I saw his live comedy once.
He had,
a long time ago.
In one of his stand-ups, a statement where he was talking about how there's a lot of research that says that the more options you have to choose from, the harder it is to make a decision. And that has bled over into relationships and dating, because there was a time when you lived in this one tiny town in the middle of nowhere and you only knew the 12 other people that lived in that town with you, so that was 12 different people that you had to choose from, as opposed to an infinite number that you can meet on the internet.
Oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. It's a buffet versus like a small sit-down dinner.
I'm thinking of that while you're talking about this, just because I think that this story stands out in some ways because of how unusual it is to us who are living in the modern age and dating.
Very different time.
The way that we do now.
Yeah, it's... I mean, he wrote a bunch of letters and got one response.
He shot his shot.
Yeah, he did, and he got the right person. It just...
The odds.
They're just very small. Very small.
It's a side story, but I think that's interesting.
It is. It absolutely is. He's not wrong on that point. It's just too many options. So, Audrey responded to his letter on March 13th, 1953. Dearest Bill, pardon the change in paper, but I had a lot to say, and this paper is lighter. Don't mind the Dearest Bill, because my pen finally wrote what I have been thinking for so long. I received your letter this morning, and I must admit, I had begun to wonder whether I had done or said something I shouldn't have. So, some things don't change, right?
Oh boy, is that true. Oh my god.
Some things don't change.
Too fucking real.
Too fucking real? Yeah. I started to write you last night, but decided against it because I didn't want to rush you any more than I already.
Who hasn't sent that text message?
I can't raise my arm.
I've said something very similar. Listen, I don't want to rush you. I just want you to know that I had a good time. And then back away slowly and see what happens.
Just like... Don't make any sudden movements. Just
I have no nets. These are my hands. I'm not trying to trap you.
I didn't bring my giant butterfly net, so calm down. I must tell you, you are wonderful, and your family are as well. I'm expressing my sentiments of my entire, all 80 of them family, and they all love you madly, me included, and Mama just adores Mrs. Cade. Tell Catherine for me that I promise her a much better time in St. Louis the next time she visits, and I hope it won't be too far away. You know, Tuesday, before anyone said good morning to me, they all wanted to know, how did you like Bill? Believe me, I got this from 4 persons the first thing that morning. I spoke truthfully to all and told them I thought Bill was wonderful. My word. And he was just what I imagined him to be. I had you figured down to the tiniest gesture. Only one thing, believe it or not, you don't talk as much as I thought you would.
Give that boy a pencil and some paper and hot damn.
12 pages later! It is insane. So, where was I? Okay. But if you were anything like I was too excited to talk. I usually have more to say than I did Monday, if that is possible. Bill, I was very happy to receive your letter this morning, but a little disturbed by the tone of it. Had I known there were so many tasks before you at this time, I would never have urged you to come here Monday. Oh yes, I wanted to see you, but it could have waited a few more months, and that time could have been spent resting instead of driving to St. Louis. Please forgive me for my thoughtlessness. I promise never to be so stupid again. again. This is again another long letter. She goes on to tell him he should essentially take care of himself and doesn't want him to divert his dreams because he is exhausted, and that she wants a chance to enjoy life with him. Again, ridiculous. Wow. But despite him telling her in the previous letter that he would not have time to write again for over a week, he wrote to her 5 days later on March 16th, 1953. He wrote, "Mind the dearest? Who could if you say it? It is as much a mark of hopeful progress as when you first used the complimentary closing love. Ah, life is grand in these primeval days of spring. By the way, spring is on its way. You know, I'm not just making lovesick talk." To paraphrase, he goes on to talk about how excited he was to get a letter from her, that he ran off to a private spot to read it and was so eager he compared it to being a narcotics addict.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was insane. And then he says, "No, I'm not a narcotics addict, nor have I ever seen anyone smoke a reefer." Yes, smoke a reefer. "But I have been knocked to my haunches by a letter from a belle of Belglade. To that extent, I can speak from experience. I told you I would probably not write you during the next few days, but you know I was lying, didn't you? If you didn't, you should have suspected that one such letter from you would bring me out from under the house, squalling like a hound full of buckshot. You didn't want to rush me? I sat counting the seconds before you probably would write and pilling up chewed-off fingernails against the fear that you mighty near wouldn't. And you didn't want to rush me? Twice I started to push some pastoral duty aside in Pittsburgh, make a lie of an excuse, and send apologies to you for whatever I had done, and was only prevented by sheer force of conscience, and you didn't want to rush me." I just liked that he's never smoked a reefer. In the last two letters between the two, on January 18th, 1954, Audrey wrote, "Dearest Bill, well, how goes everything with my future husband? I hope you aren't as excited as I am, because if you are, I can't see how you are getting anything done."
Were they officially engaged at this point?
Yeah, they're officially engaged. So I kind of skipped ahead because, there's 3 volumes of these letters. Yeah, so I did skip ahead, and I will explain a little bit more, but yes, it's incredibly cute. So, "I have all but stopped working for the Y, and all the work done at the Y is in preparation for a wedding. I am so excited these days that I am not doing a thing but running around in circles. Golly, just 1 week from today, you will be here, and I will be the happiest girl in the world. You know, this is the longest period we have spent without seeing each other since our first visit on March 9th. October 12th to January 25th is a long time to be away from the one you love. I haven't mentioned it at all these months because it will have made our longing for each other even stronger. But now, since we will be together in a week, I can say something about this absence."
Sweet.
Now, Bill, the next day, on January 19th, 1954, Bill wrote, and I want to mention this letter because I've talked about his letterhead and how it usually has the address of where the letter is coming from on the letterhead. On this one, it's a handwritten letter, and he still did his signature the same way, but the address just says, "From our apartment."
Oh. Ouch.
How's your tooth?
I need to go to the dentist. That's really sweet. Hey, Nigel, it's a really sweet story. You want to come hear it? Come here. Come listen.
He's like, "I care not of these humans and their love."
He loves love.
Aw, that was a good Nigel kiss. All right. So
cute.
He wrote this from their apartment, and he writes, "My little cast-off lover, don't you dare believe that the above appellation is true. You can't possibly imagine how much your letters have meant to me these days when I am in such a state of pandemonium. I love you for your faithfulness, kid. How justified you would be to drop me short of the altar. I am not supposed to be writing you, I know. But what's a little hooky now and then? I can't just work all the time, especially when there's a pretty little filly over there somewhere, writing sweet letters to me. Mwah! I kiss you, funny face. I am writing this letter, probably the last in our strange epistolar courtship, from the apartment where we will be living in just 11 days from now." He goes on to describe the apartment. I didn't include that part. "Don't worry about my coming to St. Louis. I wouldn't miss this opportunity for anything, and you can go back to Rivercliff if you like. Poor YMCA. It is sustaining a great loss. Bye, darling. I'll see you Tuesday at 8 or whenever the Missouri Pacific local arrives that morning. Be sweet and love your old wreck of a lover as he loves you. Forever, Bill." And he wrote Bill with a heart over the I.
Did they get married in St. Louis?
They did.
I need to find the place. Where's the place?
I didn't find that information, but I'll see if I can find it for you.
I'll look.
In the 2 years, they exchanged over 600 letters and met in person 8 times.
That's so cute.
They were married on January...
He called her kid. That's the cutest thing.
Yes. They were married on January 30th, 1954.
That is my parents' wedding anniversary. I mean, not 1954 part.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the only one of us that remembers.
Do they remember?
Hell no. No, I'm the only one that remembers, and every year I would send them a card and they'd be like, oh yeah.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Not quite as much of a love story.
No, not quite, but it's funny that they never remember.
Once. They got married in 81, so 25 years.
So, as a side note, red became such a theme in their relationship that the engagement ring he gave her was a ruby surrounded by diamonds.
Aww.
And when they were married, her bridesmaids wore pink and red, and over the 56 years of partnership, gifts he would give her would follow the red theme.
That's so...
She was little red through and through. So we're done with the letters. Your heart hurt?
I'm sad that I don't have that. I didn't even know I wanted that.
Sorry, I thought this would be a happy episode.
It is happy. It's so happy. It's so cute. And I just am like, how come when I date men, they buy me stupid shit like foot baths that I'll never use?
I don't even know how to respond to that.
It was a dumb gift.
It was a dumb gift.
I've had it for I donated it when I moved here, but I was like, I used it one time. I'm like, this is stupid. I'm sitting in my living room with my feet in water. This is such a dumb gift. It wasn't even red.
I don't know how to respond to that. It is a really dumb gift. He really stuck with the little red theme.
That's so cute.
It's super cute. So, in 1955, Bill accepted a chaplain position at Texas Southern University in Houston. He seemed to be pretty well liked, and by 1962, at the urging of his students, he began to hold chapel sessions in his and Audrey's living room, which turns out was the early start to their Emeritus Church on Wheeler Street, which is...
Emeritus is the name of the church?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, upon their arrival in Houston, Audrey began a job as a social worker at the Negro Child Center, which was an orphanage for black children founded by Clarence and Anna Dupree. Clarence himself was an orphan after his mother was disowned by her parents for having a child with a white or biracial man. He grew up to be a renowned businessman and philanthropist in Houston, so that's why him and his wife founded this orphanage for black kids.
Okay.
I thought I should include a little background on them.
And I like that.
Yeah. So, by 1962, Bill and Audrey had 4 children, Melanie, who is now a popular ABC News anchor, Cheryl, Eric, and Roxanne.
Roxanne!
Audrey remained...
You don't have to turn on the red light. Red light. Everything is red.
Somehow I didn't anticipate you going into Roxanne, and yet is so not unexpected.
I don't get that. I don't understand.
But I didn't anticipate it ahead of time.
Does not compute.
Yeah.
I can't hear that name without singing it, which is very awkward when someone calls work named Roxanne.
And you're just like mouthing it quietly to yourself.
I'm like, Roxanne! They're like, shut up.
I hate you.
I hate the police.
Please stop. Please stop.
Fuck the police!
Oh my god. Alright. Audrey remained active in the church. She and her husband helped grow. She was organizing Boy Scouts and Girl Scout troops, as well as helping to organize a preschool and infant care. She was very, very active in education and children. She was very passionate about that. So a lot of her philanthropy work was in those areas. She helped run a fundraiser to benefit the Houston Ensemble Theater to keep the theater running after the backer of the theater fell ill. This theater was a nonprofit cultural arts center that highlighted African American artistic expression. It did help save the iconic theater and what it stood for. So that was really nice.
Awesome.
In 2002, Audrey had the idea to establish the Lawson Academy, a charter school for inner city middle school aged boys. The academy was established under the William A. Lawson Institute for Peace and Prosperity at Texas Southern University, and in 2011 it was expanded to girls as well.
That's so great.
This couple also was heavily involved in civil rights.
Not surprised to hear that time frame wise.
And yeah, and even having hosted Dr. King in their home.
How cool!
There is a picture with Bill. He's the one standing directly to the right of Dr. King. So
Aww.
They actually hosted him in his home, and they were very influential in civil rights in Houston.
He's tall.
Yeah, he is tall. He's 6'1".
Okay, that's not actually. He looks taller in that photo.
I'm guessing the other men are just not as tall.
Yeah.
He just towers over them. But yeah, he's the one with the really big smile.
Oh my god, they're so cute together with their baby.
I know, they're such a cute couple.
I love her dress.
She's adorable.
I mean, Audrey's dress, though. I would wear that dress.
Yeah, I know. Her dress is super cute. So they hosted Dr. King in their home and worked closely with other civil rights leaders to prepare Houston for desegregation in their schools, stores, and transportation.
That's awesome.
I know, I love this couple so much. These two have been so influential in many areas of life in Houston. Between civil rights and Audrey's passion for helping children, their love story and influence were felt so strongly that Melda Beatty wrote a play about their story based on letters they exchanged in their early courtship. That play was performed at the Ensemble Theater that Audrey helped save.
What's the name of the play?
Can't remember. I thought I wrote it down. I think it was just called, like, Love Story or something. I thought I wrote it down, but I guess I didn't.
Okay.
And while Audrey passed away in December of 2015, Bill is still alive.
Oh, that's so sad.
So that's the only sad part of the story, but they were together for so long. They had such a beautiful love partnership. And I will post a link to the digitized letters in the show notes and in our social media. I read through some snippets of them, but there were so many, and having spent a week reading through them, I can't say this enough. They were sweet, funny, and the courtship that was real and beautiful, so go read them. They're definitely worth it.
That's it. I give up. If I don't find a love like that, then I don't want it.
Yeah.
Although I would prefer it to be like a blue instead of a red. I'm more of a blue.
Okay, noted. You're a cool tone, not a warm tone. Got it.
You're a warm tone.
I am a warm tone. I like my reds. I don't like orange, though. Don't you dare come at me with orange.
I know. Well, you like some oranges, or you don't hate some oranges.
I don't hate some oranges.
Most oranges.
Yeah. So that was my story.
I like it. That was very sweet. That's way better than Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Right? I literally Googled love story in Houston, and because of the play, this is the first thing that popped up, and then I just started running with it. Couple who were involved in the civil rights knew Dr. King and exchanged over 600 love letters. How could I not talk about them?
And really started to fall for each other's sight unseen, which I think is a purer type of love.
They loved each other for who they were, not what they looked like. It's beautiful.
Exactly. And unfortunately, that's just not the way things work nowadays.
No.
That's rad. That was an awesome story.
I'm so glad you liked it.
Yeah, no, I needed that.
After the last two that I had to cover,
yeah,
I needed this too. I needed this really badly.
I needed a story that didn't make men monsters, because I have been struggling with that feeling lately.
No, Bill is a sweetheart. He's a man who knows his way around language, and he dots his I's with hearts. And his letterhead was just so cool. Like, I love the way he wrote his name on his letterhead.
Well, in the little, I'm assuming that's a drawing of himself.
Yeah, his little drawing of himself. I love that. That drawing does...
You'll have to put that in the show notes, too. Or not in the show notes, but in the photos that we put on social media.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, I loved that story. I loved everything about that story. They make me happy.
Yeah.
Out there is just, it's beautiful.
You're not going to find it on Tinder, but it's nice to know it exists.
Yeah, just start writing random letters to people.
You know, I used to do that. Not like writing letters, but this is so random. But when I worked at the mall, I worked at the mall office in the customer service department, and we would get all kinds of samples. Just like samples from Bath and Body Works is going to have this thing happening, so here's a sample of this. And I hated that they would go to waste, so I would mail them to people. I would just open the phone book and find the first female, and I'd mail them a sample. And I would just put it on the mall's postage meter. Because I'm like, isn't that more likely to get people in the door? Than we were supposed to, like, give them out to people as they came up. But most of the people that came up were coming to, like, rent a wheelchair. We had, like, rentable automatic wheelchairs. Or we had rentable strollers. They're not coming up to get samples, and a lot of them didn't appreciate it. So I one time did get a very unexpected and nice random letter in the mail from a stranger. It was from a guy who had found my wallet in a parking lot.
Oh. Did he return the wallet, or just sent you a letter about it?
He returned the wallet, with more money in it than I had in it when I dropped it.
Oh, that's sweet.
Like a $20 bill I know that I did not have because I was very broke. And it was like an older guy, you know, he was just like,
so
I know.
Sweet.
It was very nice. Because I was panicking. You know when you lose your, like, important documents, like your ID and shit?
Yeah. It's so stressful.
And it's such a pain in the ass to replace them. On top of the fact that I was living in Michigan, but all my ID stuff was, like, out of state except for my driver's license, so I would have had to go in and change everything.
Nah. Well, I'm glad that guy returned it. That was really
very
sweet
nice.
of him.
Very unexpected.
Yeah. So there's still some good people out there.
Yay for snail mail. That's not the Unabomber.
Nobody ever writes me letters. And nobody ever sends me bombs. Please don't send me bombs.
You don't write me letters anymore.
I thought I was going to be talking about Beyonce in this episode, which, I mean, I did.
I would have been fine with that. I think it's hilarious that Jay-Z has come up twice as things we could have talked about.
Okay, so I was telling Dan this on Friday because I was looking through Spotify because I think we've talked about Jay-Z enough. Spotify must be listening to me because there was a Jay-Z playlist on my thing. And I don't necessarily listen to Jay-Z. Like, if he's in a mix with other stuff, I listen to him, but, like, I don't listen to just him.
Interesting.
And my mixes made for you, one of them was a Jay-Z mix.
That's probably Janie's fault.
And I'm like, you're listening to me, aren't you?
See, I was going to say I get recommended Jay-Z a lot, but I actually listen to Jay-Z.
I rarely listen to one specific artist. I like mixes so I can learn, like, new bands I didn't know about. So, like, I just play what I'm in the mood for, and then whatever pops up, if I like something, I'll like it, and then it will just keep.
This might be a good time for me to mention this. I haven't ever mentioned it.
Okay.
I have a playlist that I keep active that I change, like, all the time that is a public link that you can just go listen to whatever the playlist is right now. And I call it my mixtape. And I change it, like, I'll throw a song on there if I'm really vibing with the song that day. And then on the weekends, I'll take a few off. I'll go through it and, like, take some off.
We should post that so people can listen to your list.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll give it to you, too, if you're ever interested.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Always. I tend to listen to music when I'm at the studio because it just, like, helps me get work done.
It's on Tidal. I don't do Spotify anymore because Joe Rogan sucks. But
that's fine.
I did have it on Spotify. I've done this for years, but now it's on Tidal.
All right. Yay! We made it through our first real love story.
We did. It's a love story, baby, just say yes.
Do you want to see where we're going next?
Yes. Yeah, let's find out where we're going next.
All right. Spin the wheel!
All right, where will we go this time?
Wheel is spinning. Doodaloo, doodaloo, doodaloo. Where are we going?
All right, well, this is exciting. Grab your bikini.
I will not.
Okay, then we're not going to... Let's respin. I'm kidding.
Can I wear one piece? Because I don't like to show off my belly.
Yes, you can wear a one piece. Grab your sandals. Because we're going to Hawaii, baby.
Ooh, it's like one of those 1990s TV show sitcom vacations. We're going to Hawaii!
it's the Saved by the Bell spinoff.
We're going to Hawaii!
That's funny. We are going to Honolulu.
Ooh, you want to find out what we're going to talk about?
Sure.
It is number 8, which is an environmental story.
Okay, I can get down with that.
That should be a fun one. There's lots of environmental stuff going on in Hawaii.
I feel like that should be something that there's a really good option to pick from. So
maybe I should have hang glided there.
I feel like that's a long hang glide.
It's still a long hang glide from Chicago to Houston, but yes, it would be a longer hang glide to Hawaii.
I wouldn't want to do it over that much water.
No, that does not sound like fun.
There be sharks down there. All right, well, happy traveling.
All right, I'll see you there. Bye!
Bye! Thank you for listening to the Wandering Chronicles podcast with your hosts, Ashley and Jamie. You can follow us on social media at Wandering Chronicles Pod on TikTok, Wandering Chronicles Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and WND Chronicle Pod on Twitter. Or you can email us at wanderingchroniclespodcast@gmail.com. If you're enjoying what you're listening to, please leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. But only if you're enjoying what you're listening to. We're very, very sensitive. New episodes drop every Thursday. Please tell everyone you know about this podcast. Your mechanic, that strange girl from high school who randomly messages you on Facebook to try to sell you whatever MLM product that she's currently hawking, the cashier at your local grocery store, your boss, your lawn guy. I bet he listens to podcasts. Okay, thanks. Bye! And we're gonna get laid.
Yeah!
The minute we get off the airplane.
That's the best part about going to Hawaii, is getting laid right away.